Hello there, my comic book friends. It's time again for another video of what I got this week. It was 6 comics this week. Got it down to under $20 again. I like that. $20 to $25 is about what I aim for to spend on comics a week. Sometimes when it creeps up towards 40 is when I go, oh boy, I can't afford this. But anyway. Well, first of all, I have to say, Wolf #1 from last week was good and made it onto my pull list. And I'm also glad that it was a extra large issue. It was like 50 pages. Because the first 20 pages or so I was lukewarm on. But it's about a supernatural, I guess you'd call him, detective in Los Angeles. And the first 20 pages were eh. But then the world just kept building and getting more interesting for me. They just kept adding more characters in, and by the end of it, I really liked the book. So Wolf is on my pull list now. I also, last week, I dropped X-O Manowar so I could put on the new Phonogram miniseries. Not that X-O is a terrible book or anything, but I was just kind of tired of it, and it was a $4 book, and I'd rather buy Phonogram by the two guys who do The Wicked and Divine. I read the first Phonogram miniseries many years ago. I don't think I forgot the second one. But I think this is the third Phonogram. But anyway, X-O Manowar off the pull list. Wolf and Phonogram miniseries on the pull list. And here is Wayward #10. I like that cover. Very colorful. Wayward has been very good lately. The battle between all the mystical creatures has been heating up. Very colorful artwork. The character from the first issue is back. The first story arc is back after being missing or, sort of minimalized in the first couple of issues of the second story arc. Now she's back. Now they're all the Japanese mystical creatures, all the new ones, all the old ones are all facing off against each other. And it's a fun story, Wayward. Give it a look. Next we have Southern Bastards #10. We'll have to see what this issue's story brings us, because I was just posting on Carnage Man 99's page that he was getting a little frustrated with the change of directions in Southern Bastards, in that we had the first story arc was about one guy, and then we went backwards in time for the second story arc. Now for the third story arc, we kind of taken a sidestep with that first issue last issue. It's all still good, but I'm waiting to see what the forward movement on Southern Bastards is. I'm picking it up no matter what because I'm enjoying it, but still, it can get a little It's like that. It was that Lord of the Rings frustration. I don't know if you ever read Lord of the Rings, but it was actually 6 books and not 3 books, because in the middle of each book, the story would break off for 300 pages. You'd be following these 3 or 4 characters, and then their story would stop, and for the next 300 pages you'd be following a different 3 or 4 characters, and it was all good. But when they left you with a cliffhanger on your first 3 or 4 characters, it was very, very frustrating. I find Southern Bastards a little like that too. It's all good, but the story's jumping around in time. But anyway, give it a read. Next we have Rasputin #7. Last issue was the first issue of a new story arc, and it was interesting. I thought they did a good job with it. They brought Rasputin forward in time, and they still go back in time. Speaking of more time travel, but it's still Rasputin. It's not another character. It's just the same guy going. Looks like this is in both places again too. So there's a story of him back in the when was he alive? 1815. He died somewhere around World War II, World War I, I believe. So somewhere between 1814 and 1819. So that's where the original Rasputin story takes place, and they flash forward to current times where he's still a political figure, or he's advising a political figure. And now it looks like they're switching around again. But I'm very much enjoying Rasputin. The art is very imaginative. The story is very, very imaginative. Give it a read. And speaking of imaginative, here comes Manhattan Project's The Sun Beyond the Stars, Issue 2. if you haven't read this before, go out, find issue 1 and issue 2. You don't worry about the first series. It's all sorts of weirdness there too. You just jump on the weirdness of this series. This one is all taking place in space. So it's kind of this strange sci-fi story it's turned into. They did this whole thing where after they stopped the first series, they're going to do a series of mini-series. Oh, stupid graphics pages. So that they can tell different stories in sort of different genres. And their first genre is this, you know, human beings going off into space and meeting these crazy alien races. Lots of good drawing, lots of good writing. Manhattan Projects is an excellent book. You can get trades of all the first series you want, or just jump on right now with the second series. And next we have Lazarus number 18. Looks like everybody's armored up and ready for war. Lazarus has been a good series about these families that rule Earth in the future. And all sorts of political intrigue has been going on, and she's a special, I guess she's kind of the superhero you'd call her, but she's not a hero, she's just super super soldier, let's call her that. That's what they're trying to make, a super soldier, and a lot of the families have super soldiers in this world, but not all of them. And things are finally coming to a head in this series where it looks like a shooting war has finally broken out. We spent the first, 17 issues or 16 issues trying to avoid a shooting war, but here we go. Now it's I'm guessing the violence happens in this issue, since she just, at the end of last issue was the gather up the troops segment, and I guess now it's the go into battle segment, so this is sure to be an exciting issue. Check out Lazarus. The final book of the week is Copperhead. Last issue, she wasn't in a lot of last issue. She's the sheriff, the hero of our book. But it was her deputy who got kidnapped, the dog-looking guy. He's not on here yet. It was mostly about him being in the hands of the bad guys. Those look like the bad guys, I think. I can't remember what they look like. But I assume now, looks like this issue is about her tracking down her deputy and the bad guys. And I assume her deputy isn't going easy wherever he is. So Copperhead, space western, good comic, crazy space western horses. What are those, porcupine horses? I don't know. Hedgehog horses, more like lizard hedgehog horses. But anyway, Copperhead's a good story. Give it a read sometime. And here my background is some comics pages I've been working on lately. I've actually been working on coloring these lately. It's a strange ghost story. I have the first draft all written and lettered, and I haven't been able to, sometimes I just can't, sometimes getting that second draft done is tough. But I have all the drawing done at least, and I have the beginnings of the coloring done. As you can see, I inked this all over blue line. I'll show you. You can see where's some of the blue lines in the back? I think you can see it better on that other page. Let's go back to there's, I drew it real small in blue, and then inked actually I penciled a bit of this too, and then inked over it with black ink, and then scanned it in and dropped the blue lines out so they don't show up. Like I said, I've been busy coloring it, and I'll get it done one of these days. I don't know when, but sometime or another. But anyway, there's some art. There's my comics for the week. You guys have a good time.